The following interview took place on the 8th of March 2020. We had planned to follow up the interviews with Phil Fletcher to learn more about his unique life. But sadly, soon after shooting this session with him, our production came to a halt due to the ongoing global pandemic. Phil is a professional puppeteer and puppet builder who is currently contracted with the BBC and has been for the last decade. We aim to give you a glimpse of his extraordinary life, from infant to eccentric border terrier he is famed to portray. We hope you enjoy the piece. Enjoy the film.
Hacker's owned by the BBC, yeah. Hacker is a BBC character, he's owned by the BBC. Cool. But I perform him, and I created his personality and all that nonsense.
Excellent. Can you give me one more?
And I'm Hacker the dog from the telly and assorted other media. Oh. What? Is that enough? Is that enough or not?
I'm going to start.
Do I look at you?
Yeah.
Well, whoever else the question,
I was too stubborn to give up. I was too stubborn not for it to succeed. I was too stubborn to give up. That's the problem. I've always been really good at it. It's the best thing I'm good at. It's the best thing I can do. Is that the right phrase? It's what I do the best.
Yeah, that's the right phrase. There you go.
Put that in any order you like. I was brought up in a house with my parents, mum and dad, and my grandparents lived there, my mum's mum and dad. And I didn't have any siblings or anything, so I was an only child. And I started doing puppets, I suppose, when I was... I remember the rubbish answer, I don't remember. I'm just, when I was young, I first started doing puppets. I can't remember what prompted it, and I don't know why I started doing it. But when I first did it, I was good at it. I could do that. I was good at it from day one, and I don't know why. To do it for a living, I always knew I would do it for a living. But no one was ever discouraging about it, nor were they particularly encouraging about it. I was just left to my own devices. I've never been... It's a pretty dull answer, I suppose, but it's just really... I've always just done my own thing and not been concerned about anybody else's opinion. Well, the puppets I made when I was a kid, out of paper and stuff, I used to make them out of envelopes and what have you. So you can do a puppet with a moving mouth out of an envelope. Draw off if you fold it in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I've always done hand puppet type things, or lip sync. I don't know why I've no memory of not doing it, and I don't. Sadly, the dull answer is I don't remember why I started doing it. I don't know. I left a sewing machine when I was 11 because my nan had died. My dad's mum died, and we got the sewing machine for some reason. And I just got some bits and bats of stuff from the craft shop in Wigan and started making puppets with it. And I made a puppet called Josh, who I still used to the same character, still use him to this day. And I did puppet shows. But yeah, it's really quite uneventful, really. I was just done it. But I knew I would do it for a living. I always knew from a kid I'd do it for a living. And when I was asked at school, or everyone said, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd always say puppeteer. When everybody else said footballer, astronaut, I'd say puppeteer. And I said it from being 4 or 5, this. And I have no clue why. I'm a big believer in don't have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, you'll do plan B.
Oh, that's a very steamy shot.
But I mean that. I do mean it. If you have a plan B, you'll do it. You'll always. Don't have something to fall back on. And that's just that bizarre advice, but that's the only way I can. If you do one thing really well, you will end up doing it. If you strive for success, you'll achieve it.
I've just been to the lab now. So I'm alright, okay.
Come on.
Woof woof!
I drew a little flyer of the puppets and put my phone number on it and put it in the corner shop window. And I'd get little kids' birthday parties from that. I charged 12 quid a show back then. 12 quid in the 80s was about 13 quid now, folks. It's not bad. Nobody else was earning that money. I was at school then. So I started the company in 1988. The first show I did was in my... So when I left primary school, 88, went up to high school, I went back to the primary school in the last week of the summer holidays for high school, because they went back a week before and I did the first ever puppet show at the primary school there in 88. That was the first show I ever did.
Can you remember what your characters were?
Josh was my comper, and he's basically the Kermit the Frog of it, and he would say, "Coming up next is X, Y, Z," and then I'd lip sync to press play on a tape thing, lip sync to Ghostbusters, Three Little Pigs I did.
Yeah, how did you manage to do the Three Little Pigs?
One at a time, one pig at a time, and I only had one pig puppet, so I had the wolf, Vince the wolf, and I'd Rasher the pig. So then the pig would come off, I'd put a wig on it, and it'd be a different pig, and then I'd put glasses on it, and it would be a third pig. And I had a house made of, I had the 3 houses made of cardboard, painted like brick or straw or whatever. And the spoon I used was the horse, the pommel horse at the gym, with a bit of cloth over it, and that was the first show I ever did. I bought a camcorder out of cabaret money. I bought a camcorder, a massive Ferguson one.
Oh, the old
where you
big
put a
shoulder
full-size
one.
tape in it. You remember those?
Yeah.
I bought one of those off my dad's mate for 300 quid, and I was about 12 at this point, and I bought that out of puppet show money. Second-hand camera, massive it was, brilliant. I used to do videos, and I used to show them in the school. They used to show them in art. I used to do puppet lip-syncing videos again at home, which everyone starts doing lip-syncing. It's a good way to start, to learn the lip-sync.
I lied on the furniture. Another day for me, clock on. Another day, another clock. Do you like it?
I'd forgotten about the
I
eyebrow.
had them threaded. Okay. I hadn't done any shopping centre in Preston.
My first memories of puppets were on telly would have been your Rod Hull and Emu. I was a big fan of Rod Hull and Emu, big influence, Keith and Orville, and the Muppets. A lot of people who do this for a living now will always cite the Muppets as their biggest influence, but they weren't really mine. I mean, they're great, and I was a big fan, but I love the British stuff.
It was about the TV that was on at the time, so we had this big...
The big variety shows,
Variety
yeah.
shows.
In our day, yeah, we'd have big variety on telly, and there were always puppets on the telly. Rod and Emu were prime time. They were drawing in 11 million viewers a week, and Keith and Orville were as well. Although Keith Harris was a ventriloquist, I've never really been interested in ventriloquism per se, but his characters were so strong. Keith, Orville and Cuddles were so strong. They were such great personalities and so different from each other. Some acts have lots of puppets, some ventriloquists use lots of characters, but he only used 2, but they were so good, he didn't need more. And Rod and Emu were the same. He wasn't a ventriloquist, didn't have any sort of, didn't do any of that sort of thing, but he was such a great manipulator of the puppet. You believed in Emu, you believed that thing was alive. And that always influenced me, that. There was big shows on there, but I was really influenced by that sort of thing, yeah. The believability of that character really is what made me want to do what I do, really. When I'm in normal life, when I'm working at CWC, I'm lying on a sort of low-rolling dolly, which is a cushioned skateboard sort of thing with wheels on it. So Hacker is always that high off the ground. His head height is always the same. And the bottom of Hacker is framed out by the cameras. So I'm not hidden. I'm just lying on the floor working, watching a monitor with my lines stuck near them, and I have a microphone on my glasses. So I'm working like that, live, blah, 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 blah. Here's Tracy Beaker or whatever. So it's quite easy, I'm unrestricted, and I'm on wheels, so I can whiz around. But it's the bottom of frame is the cut-off point for Hacker. Now, when I was on Pointless, because they do big wide shots of all the panellists, Hacker can't be seen to be just stood there on his own, so they had to build a box for us to be in. Now, Hacker was on that with his brother Dodge, which means there was 2 puppeteers in this box with 3 monitors in it. We had a monitor each for our eyes, and a monitor with all the questions on, and it's the same thing again. On the screens we're looking at, we see what you see at home. Do you know what I mean? So when there's a camera on Hacker, all I can see is Hacker. I can't play the room, I can't gauge what the other people are doing, because I can't see them. So as soon as you, for example, if I've got a single of Hacker there, and someone in the next team over this side is going to Hacker, I can't react to them, so I can't see it until they're in shot. It'd be nice to get, sometimes you get a quad split, so you see all the cameras at the same time, but you don't know which one you're playing to then. So I normally get vision out, so I get the cut. So sometimes you'll see, if there's a show, like a quiz show, Hacker's doing anything, as soon as it cuts to his single, it'll look down the camera, because that's when the first time I can see it. It's quite tricky that.
Yeah.
So you don't always, you're chasing the red light. You can see it sometimes when it cuts to Hacker, then he does this. Because you can't find your lens until you've got a monitor. It's a weird hand-eye coordination thing, also, which I didn't mention either. I have a talkback in my ear when I'm on live telly. So I've got 5 people talking in my ear at the same time, plus I'm doing my lines, plus I'm watching a monitor that is now flipped to your brain, because I have it straight scan, so mine's not like a mirror, it's like that, works the opposite way around. So you've got 4 or 5 things going on in your brain at the same time. And his arm rods, I'm working his arms, doing his voice, working his head, listening to people talking, finding which camera I'm on, watching a monitor wheeling around the floor. It's mental. Don't do it.
Please
Do it.
please don't do it, because I want
Give
to
it a
continue
try.
until
Give
I'm
it a
90.
try.
Yeah.
Every rehearsal I picked it up.
You've done it every time, but you're not good on the live when it counts, mate.
Often doing live telly, you've got no safety net of being pre-recorded, and often we call, so we often laugh
more
into
laughter
the
files.
live. To the point where we're both weeping with laughter, me and Ian, or me and Katie, or Lauren, and then you've got the gallery in your ear going, this is a hard count, we've got to get out of this link, and we're laughing, but that makes it funnier. So every day something goes wrong. It's the beauty of live telly. It's the most fun thing about it, actually.
Yeah.
So they're going mad in our ear. Imagine that. People are shouting at you going, come on, you pull it together, which makes you laugh all the more. And then something will fall over on set and land on me, and
Oh, Ian, that hurt. That's heavier than it looks as well. Right on your head. Oh, Ian.
I've worked, over the years, doing Hacker 11 years, I've worked with about, I'd say 20 or 25 presenters on CBBC. I've got on with all of them really well, but Ian Sterling was brilliant. I worked with him for 4.5 years. Me and him used to live together in London, because when we both moved to London, we didn't know anybody else, because we both got the job at the same time, so we were friends. And we spent every minute of the day together outside of work as well, so that's why Ian and Hacker worked so well, because we knew each other really well. Because Hacker is very much just me, so it's just a real person. There's not much fabrication there. Hacker's from Wigan, he loves Subaru, he eats meat paste. I'm all those things, really. There's not really a great leap of imagination for them. It's in the business. I said that mastermind when I didn't win. Very sad.
Hacker.
What?
Been swearing scandal.
Mucky get. It's great that no one knows who I am really. I enjoy the fact that Hacker is the star of it and I'm just an anonymous character. So I never get recognised in the street. Occasionally I do get recognised by my voice. I was in the O2 shop once trying to get my bloody phone fixed, and I was going, oh god, and somebody turned around behind me and did say, are you Hacker the dog? And that happened once in the travel centre. I said, I am, yeah. Now where's me 3 minutes? They're driving me insane. But yeah, it's great, best of both worlds. You get all the perks of, and I get to meet a lot of great celebrities, because Hacker gets sent to a lot of assorted events or films or premieres or red carpets or junkets and stuff, and you meet all these big. I'm really starstruck by them, because the biggest names that I get to meet as Hacker I'm not really a big fan of generally. So the people who I was a fan of, who I've met subsequently and been starstruck by, are the likes of Frank Sidebottom or John Shuttleworth or Count Arthur Strong, people who nobody else have really heard of. But Hacker's worked with some big names like Jim Curry, The Rock, Jack Black, John Cena, will.i.am, Tom Jones. The most famous person I've ever met whilst as Hacker is the Queen. The woman off the money.
The woman off the money.
She's
now.
on the money.
And what was she like?
She's lovely. The Queen was opening our studio officially. She came and opened it in 2013.
Hacker did behave, surely.
Yes, I did. He asked her could he be one of her corgis, and she said that's very good. That. He was on the telly. He was on news at 10. I've done a lot of things with big A-listers as Hacker, and they've all been quite good fun, really. But Benedict Cumberbatch was good fun.
Waffles!
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 He did an impression of Hacker. He was quite a good impressionist. He did an impression of Hacker, which was funny. It's funny hearing him saying, all right, cockers, I'm from Wigan. I quite liked him saying that. And Jack Black was good, because he said...
Did you call us cockers?
I did call you cocker, yeah. And The Rock said, I'll come to Wigan and see you. When he tweeted it, to 30 million followers he's got on Twitter. It's mad. It blows my mind, the nonsense I get sent to. But some days you get up and you don't know what your day's going to bring, and you get a message saying, oh, you're going interviewing Jim Curry today or whatever, which does happen often. And I'm quite blasé about it now. So, oh God, I don't want to go out today. I'm watching Dickinson's Real Deal. Do you know what I mean? It's properly ungrateful. The CBBC people will work out some questions for me, but they'll give me a basic framework and I'll ad-lib round it based on what the people say back. So I did ask I asked the director of the Sonic the Hedgehog film.
Did you make the trailer with the weird looking Sonic in after you made the film, just for publicity purposes?
I will never tell.
And that was my ad lib. Did you see it? Hacker can get away with murder. I can ask people anything and just say, oh, it's just this character. What I like about puppets the most is you can get away with stuff you, as a person, you couldn't get away with. So with Hacker, for example, you can do a naff joke, and it's funny because it's Hacker. You've already got an in fact, so you can do a naff gag with Hacker, and it becomes a good joke. Whereas if a person did it, it would just be a naff joke. So you've already got an in, which means you can ask people anything and get away with murder. Generally, and I have over the years. Good God, I can't think of an example, but I've said some horrific things to some big people. Dreadful. Well, you'd get a smack. You deservedly so. But I've always been really good at it. It's the best thing I'm good at. It's the best thing I can do. Is that the right phrase? It's what I do the best.
Yeah, that's the right phrase, that one. There you go.
Put that in any order you like. Often people ask me how to get into doing Hacker, and you sort of expect an interesting story, but it's quite dull. One day, unknown, Hacker was unknown, a small character on a small channel. All of a sudden, the next day, he was being seen by 1 million people, and the day after that, the producer said, do whatever you want now, because it worked. He could have failed, but he's never. I was 11. Messing about, and I didn't think I'd ever be doing it 30 odd years later.
So we're going to start.
I'll have a shave next time for the proper thing.
I thought you were going for the macho look, the big
Oh
cuts.
God, but yeah.
Seriously, is it custom made?
Yeah.
That's a no. He's just not going to tell me where he.
No, they're all custom made, all my shirts, and all Hacker shirts. The same bloke makes them in Charlie, Bob the shirt. I think these days it's much easier. When I first started, there was no internet.
Yeah.
Or anything. I just used to do stuff for my own amusement. It took 20 odd years to get onto telly, but I never aspired to do telly.
Right, that is.
Is that any good?
It's brilliant, mate.
I really love working for the BBC. They've always been good to me. They've given me great opportunities to do crazy stuff. I don't think I would have done any of that stuff without them, really. I think if I'd not done Hacker, I'd have still been doing cabaret, and you wouldn't be having me on this documentary.